Hello everyone. Now in my previous video, I had started up with the chemistry of nucleic acids and I gave you a brief description of nucleic acids. What are they? The acids which are present in the nucleus, for example DNA and RNA. And I had also mentioned about the composition of DNA and RNA. One very interesting thing which I'm going to tell you here in this video is that this DNA and RNA is synthesized in a body. DNA, which stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, RNA, which stands for ribonucleic acid. So if we see the structure of DNA and RNA, they are similar. The only difference is in the composition of the bases. The bases which are nitrogenous heterocyclic compounds. They are what? Purines and pyrimidines. Now, I gave you a brief description about what is the basic difference between a purine and pyrimidine. Here also I'm going to mention it because since now we are going to study the synthesis of this. Purines have an extra imidazole ring and pyrimidines that lack that imidazole ring. So let's start up with the synthesis. Now see, purines and pyrimidines are synthesized by a very important pathway which is also known as de novo. De novo means whatever is the infrastructure, it's new basically. So whatever is the structure of purines that is generated by enzyme catalyzed reactions in our body and it occurs in the liver, and precursor is ribose 5-phosphate which is coming from HMP shunt. So you can say precursor of purines is ribose 5-phosphate. Very important. Then since de novo is occurring in the liver, due to the deficiency of a very important enzyme in the WBCs, RBCs and brain, this de novo pathway is not operative there. So there another pathway is there which is known as salvage pathway. So and basically what is the meaning of the salvage pathway? It means saved from degradation. So we can say the synthesis of purines takes place in two ways. Pyrimidines as well by de novo pathway 1 and by salvage pathway. Then this is a very interesting slide. It is basically a mind map to remember what is actually happening here. Now see, very interesting slide. Nucleotide biosynthesis is by two pathways, de novo and salvage. De novo for purines and pyrimidines, similarly salvage also for purines and pyrimidines. Now purines, all of us know purines are adenine and guanine. And precursor, just now I told you it is ribose 5-phosphate. First IMP is synthesized which forms AMP which is adenosine monophosphate and guanosine which is guanosine monophosphate or GMP. Pyrimidine में first pyrimidine which is synthesized is uridine monophosphate which is responsible for the synthesis of cytosine and thymine. Because the major difference between DNA and RNA regarding the composition is DNA has thymine instead of uracil. So this is a very interesting map just to remember what are purines, what are pyrimidines and how they are synthesized. First of all, we are going to take up the synthesis of purines by de novo pathway. Now see de novo, as you can see from the picture itself, this is the entire structure of purines. In my previous video, I told you the numbering here in purines is anti-clockwise. This is a very good slide. In fact, everything is clearly visible in this. You can see N3 and N9 comes from glutamine. N1 comes from aspartate, C2 and C8 comes from formate, C4, C5 and N7 comes from glycine which is the simplest amino acid, and 6C, that is carbon, it comes from carbon dioxide or bicarbonate ions. So this is how the synthesis of purines takes place by de novo pathway. And purines are N9 glycosides. N9 glycosides means actually synthesis starts from ribose sugar. Just now I told you the precursor is ribose 5-phosphate. This ribose 5-phosphate is attached here. So this is how the ring goes. Or you can say first nitrogen which comes during the synthesis of purines is from glutamine. As you can see, it is visible from the picture itself that N3 and N9 are coming from glutamine. So this is the source of carbon and nitrogen atoms in purines. And the pathway is known as de novo pathway. So you can see here the precursor is ribose 5-phosphate, which is coming to form. Here you can see here in this slide also, ribose 5-phosphate first forms PRPP, phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate, in the presence of enzyme PRPP synthetase. Once this PRPP synthetase is there, it forms this PRPP. It again, just now I showed you that slide in which N9 is coming from glutamine. There is a transfer of this amino group in the presence of enzyme glutamine amidinotransferase to form IMP. And once this inosine monophosphate is produced, it by a two-step reaction forms adenosine monophosphate, and by two-step reaction GMP or guanosine monophosphate. This is a very good slide because it is defining or describing the regulation also. Always remember, whenever you are going to study the metabolism, regulation is the most important one. So here it is clear. This is simple feedback inhibition or product inhibition. Means whenever there is accumulation of the product, it starts inhibiting its own synthesis. And it is quite evident from the picture. Increased concentration of AMP will inhibit glutamine amidinotransferase because this is the rate limiting enzyme of de novo pathway. Similarly, PRPP synthetase, this is also a rate limiting enzyme of de novo pathway. So increased concentration of these are going to inhibit glutamine amidinotransferase, which is the rate limiting enzyme. And before starting up with this synthesis, I told you there are two pathways, de novo and salvage. Salvage is operative in RBCs, brain and WBCs. Why de novo pathway is not operative there? Because brain, RBCs and WBCs lack this enzyme. Very, very important. Due to the absence of glutamine amidinotransferase in WBCs, RBCs and brain, this de novo pathway is not operative. Then obviously this is whatever we are synthesizing is either AMP or GMP. And I told you there is a difference between ribose sugar to deoxyribose sugar. Basically it is clear, you can see D is added there. As in my previous video, I discussed the structure also of ribose and deoxyribose sugar. So since both the bases have to be present, both the nucleic acids have to be synthesized. So this AMP, or it is also known as, because it is having this ribose sugar, it has to be converted into deoxyribose sugar. And if we see the structure of ribose sugar, it has this OH in it at the second carbon atom. This OH needs to be converted into HH. Simple reduction is there. So the enzyme is ribonucleotide reductase, and this ribonucleotide diphosphate will be converted into deoxyribonucleoside diphosphate. And this is again a biochemical reaction, a redox reaction. You can see the enzyme is thioredoxin reductase and it is coupled with NADPH because oxidation and reduction are taking place simultaneously. So this is how this purine synthesis is taking place by de novo pathway. Then we come over to salvage pathway. Now I told you salvage pathway is operative in brain, RBCs and WBCs. Why de novo pathway is not present here? Due to the absence of enzyme PRPP glutamine amidotransferase. This is a very important question. Now salvage pathway is simple one-step reaction. What happens is, see, bases are 3. Adenine will be converted into adenosine monophosphate. The difference is what? Here PRPP will come. Simple PPI will be given out, giving energy to the reaction. There is transfer of adenosine to this. So the enzyme will be adenosine phosphoribosyl transferase. This is one nucleoside which is synthesized. Second is guanine will be converted to guanosine monophosphate. Again same reaction, PRPP and PPI. And the enzyme is hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. A very important enzyme which plays a very important role in the monoclonal antibodies also. And third is inosine. The precursor is hypoxanthine. This hypoxanthine forms IMP. IMP stands for inosine monophosphate. Inosine monophosphate is the intermediate which is produced during de novo pathway. And again same reaction, and the enzyme is this. So you can say salvage pathway is simple one-step reaction in which GMP, IMP and AMP are produced, and which is operative where? In the brain, in the RBCs and in the WBCs. Then see, what is the key role of metabolism? If something is produced, it has to be degraded so that the net concentration remains the same. Rate of input of something has to be equivalent to the rate of output of that. Same is the case here. When purines are synthesized, they have to be degraded. The degradative product of purines is uric acid. Very important. The normal concentration of uric acid in an individual is 3 to 7 milligram per dl. Now see, there are 3 nucleotides, AMP, IMP and GMP. Adenosine monophosphate. Now see, degradation is stepwise. Monophosphate. First of all, phosphate will be given out. When phosphate is given out, it is left with adenine plus sugar. Adenosine is produced. Same is the case here again. Inorganic phosphate is given out, and it will be adenosine for ribosyl transferase, guanosine ribosyl transferase, and IMP. Again, it is being converted into hypoxanthine. This hypoxanthine undergoes two-step reaction. First of all, it gets converted to xanthine, and then it gets converted to uric acid. The enzyme is xanthine oxidase. So all the 3 nucleotides, AMP, IMP and GMP, their degradative end product is uric acid in mammals or in humans. Except humans, this uric acid is converted into allantoin. Since we human beings lack this uricase enzyme, we lack uricase. So the degradation of purines is still uric acid. And this is how uric acid is produced. Now see, what happens is whenever we are going to study the metabolism of some things, first of all we study the anabolism, how they are synthesized. When we study the anabolism, after that we study the catabolism. As just now I told you, law of conservation of energy, a first law of thermodynamics is energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It is simply converted from one form to another. Same is the case here. If purines are produced in the diet, in the body, or they are taken from the diet, they have to be degraded. And if synthesis is not proper, if degradation is not proper, it can lead to different inborn errors of metabolism. And that is what exactly happens here. So what are the inborn errors of metabolism associated with purines? So what are the inborn errors of metabolism associated to purines? First is it leads to gout, then it leads to Lesch-Nyhan syndrome, then Kelly-Siegmiller syndrome, and SCID, severe combined immunodeficiency syndrome, which we are going to discuss in the next slides. Now, first of all, let's study gout. Gout is what? Simple arthritis. And how it is caused? There is increase in the concentration of uric acid, or hyperuricemia takes place. Now, what are the reasons which can lead to hyperuricemia? This gout is actually of two types. First of all, let's take primary gout. Simple, there is deposition of the uric acid crystals. Then secondary gout is caused by von Gierke's disease. If you remember, von Gierke's disease is one of the very important glycogen storage diseases, which is actually due to the deficiency of glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme. So basically, if we take this, what is happening inside here is deficiency of glucose 6-phosphatase. This reaction is glucose 6-phosphate has to be converted to glucose in the presence of glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme. If this enzyme is absent, there is increased concentration of glucose 6-phosphate, so it will be diverted to undergo HMP shunt. HMP shunt means more of ribose sugar, so more of purine production and more of degradation of purines, or you can say hyperuricemia. So since this is not directly linked to it, that is why it is known as secondary gout. And uricosuric drugs are given which increases the renal excretion of uric acid, and a very good example of this is allopurinol, which is a competitive inhibitor of xanthine oxidase. Now, whatever is there, hyperuricemia means there is increase in the concentration of uric acid. So what are the factors which can lead to increased concentration of uric acid? Either it is increased formation of uric acid, or it is decreased excretion of uric acid. Now, whether it is decreased excretion or whether it is increased formation, basically what is happening is there is increased concentration of uric acid. Now, increased uric acid formation is due to the deficiency of HGPRT enzyme, due to hemolysis, due to obesity, due to rich diet of purines. Decreased excretion of uric acid is due to hypertension, lactic acidosis, again secondary gout, diuretics, and we same lactic acidosis is there. So this is what? This is hyperuricemia, which is leading to gout or pain or inflammation in the joints. And basically what happens is they form tophi type of structure. Tophis are produced. Because uric acid is what? It is an acid. And this uric acid combines with sodium and forms precipitates. We call them sodium urate crystals. Right. Then a very important disorder associated with the deficiency of HGPRT and ADA. First of all, we are going to take this. HGPRT enzyme responsible for the conversion of guanine to guanosine monophosphate and hypoxanthine to inosine monophosphate. So Complete deficiency of this enzyme leads to Lesch-Nahan syndrome, very, very important, and present only in males, X-linked. This is the major important point about this. And partial deficiency of HGPRT leads to Kelly-Siegmiller syndrome. And the basic difference between these two is, in Lesch-Nahan syndrome, gout will be there, and self-mutilation is the most important point. The males who are suffering from this disorder, they have a tendency to bite their fingers, their toes. But in Kelly-Siegmiller syndrome, only gout is visible, no self-mutilation is there. This is the major difference between these two, and this is again a very, very important question asked in the exam. Then last disorder is adenosine deaminase deficiency, the enzyme which is responsible in the conversion of AMP to IMP. Simple, if you see the structure also of adenosine monophosphate, inosine monophosphate, the only difference is regarding the what? The amino group. Deaminase, removal of amino group. Deficiency of this leads to SCID, severe combined immunodeficiency syndrome, where both B cells and T cells are affected. So these are what? Inborn errors of metabolism associated to purines. This is a very good picture of Lesch-Nahan syndrome, absence of HGPRTase enzyme. You can see it is X-linked, very, very important. Occurs only in males. There is increased uric acid, self-mutilation, most important one. Then next we come out to, so far we discussed about what? Purines, synthesis of purines by two pathways, de novo as well as salvage pathway. And I told you the source of carbon and nitrogen atoms also there. Then we come over to pyrimidine synthesis. Now pyrimidine synthesis mein you can see the picture. What happens is, the numbering is what? Clockwise, like this. This nitrogen, major chunk is coming from aspartic acid. Carbon is coming from carbon dioxide, and N3 is coming from glutamine. And this lacks a imidazole ring. And that is why purines are N1 glycosides. They are synthesized like this, CH2OP. So they are what? They are N1 glycosides. And purines, N9 glycosides. Now then, the synthesis is again de novo. You can see first step is synthesis of carbamoyl phosphate. And the enzyme is CPS2, carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 2. Once this carbamoyl phosphate is produced, a very important step is coming of aspartate, because just now I showed you the picture in which major chunk is coming from aspartic acid. So it forms carbamoyl aspartate. Now here one more important thing I am going to tell you is, this CPS2 is a cytosolic enzyme. Cytosolic enzyme plus rate limiting enzyme in eukaryotes. And carbamoyl ATPase, aspartate transcarbamylase, is a rate limiting enzyme in prokaryotes. This is again very, very important. Now next slide, this is how the synthesis takes place. Glutamine combines with bicarbonate ions in the presence of CPS2, the rate limiting enzyme in eukaryotes, to form carbamoyl phosphate. This carbamoyl phosphate forms carbamoyl aspartate. This is a rate limiting enzyme in prokaryotes. And then it forms orotic acid. This orotic acid undergoes decarboxylation to form OMP, ornithidine monophosphate, which forms UMP. So ideally, by seeing this picture, you can see first pyrimidine to be synthesized is uridine monophosphate. This uridine monophosphate then forms cytidine triphosphate, and it forms thymine monophosphate, because again I am telling you the major difference between purine and pyrimidine is purines have uracil, DNA has thymine and RNA has uracil. So you can say first pyrimidine which is synthesized is uridine. Since we have to synthesize DNA also the basis, so this uridine monophosphate needs to be converted to thymine monophosphate. Very, very important reaction again. And this is how synthesis takes place. This is an important reaction. You can see deoxyuridine monophosphate is forming DTMP. And folic acid is required for this reaction. Very important reaction. Conversion of uracil to thymine requires folic acid. All the anti-cancerous drugs are antifolate in nature. Methotrexate, aminopterin and trimethoprim. They are what? They are the inhibitors of dihydrofolate reductase. You can see. So what happens is if these drugs are taken, obviously there won't be synthesis of thymine. So we can check the proliferation of the cells. And this is a very, very important reaction. Formation of thymine from uracil. Now see, if pyrimidines are produced, obviously next step would be what? Degradation of these purines. If we study the catabolism of pyrimidines, simply pyrimidines form carbon dioxide, ammonia and beta-alanine. But they are actually forming the harmless products. Purines ka end product was uric acid, but here it is this. Beta-alanine can be used in the synthesis of anserine and carnosine. Thymine is degraded to form beta-amino isobutyrate. Then we come over to the inborn error of metabolism. Now, inborn error of metabolism first is orotic aciduria. This orotic aciduria is caused due to the deficiency of orotate phosphoribosyl transferase, OPRT. And second, type 2 is caused by OMP decarboxylase. Then another disorder is also there. Orotic aciduria also is caused due to the deficiency of mitochondrial ornithine transcarbamylase of urea cycle. Because CPS1 and 2 are actually basically the major difference between these two enzymes is CPS1 is an enzyme of urea cycle present in the mitochondria. CPS2 is the enzyme of pyrimidine biosynthesis present in the cytosol. So orotic aciduria can also be due to the deficiency of mitochondrial ornithine transcarbamylase, which helps in the formation of citrulline in urea cycle. And this is Reye syndrome, in which severely damaged mitochondria are unable to utilize carbamoyl phosphate. So this is how pyrimidines are degraded, and these are the inborn errors of metabolism associated to them. So here in all now, this is all about in this video of mine of biosynthesis of purines and pyrimidines by de novo pathway, by salvage pathway, different enzymes regulating the entire reaction. Now in my next video, I will be taking up, now since we have studied about the chemistry of nucleic acids, we have studied about the synthesis of the bases. Now next is we are going to start up with the properties and synthesis of DNA and RNA in the next videos of mine. So if you want to again go into detail, please subscribe to my channel so that you can be getting the maximum benefit out of this. Thanks a lot.